people know that there's no shame in being abused. That happens. There are really terrible people out there, and there are people who do bad things. And that doesn't make you a bad person, and that doesn't make you at fault. And so I think taking the stigma away from that pain of being someone who sticks around to see the best in someone else, that's a good quality. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to shut down your heart. You're not alone. Yeah. There are boundaries. There are very practical ways to prevent yourself from stepping into those things again. But I just want people to know that they're not alone.
You recently were open about your previous experience being in a cult.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know, how...
It's so funny how it rolls off everyone's tongue when they're like, in a cult. Can I say
it's like, there is a hesitation of like, whoa, because it's heavy stuff. And if you've not experienced it, as I have not experienced it, you hear other people's stories and it kind of blows your mind. You can't imagine being in something like that if you weren't on the ground there. And so I think it's really important for people who have experienced things like that to remove the stigma, to talk about it, to raise awareness. And so I really respect that you've done that. I'm curious to know why, or how did you get to a place, rather, where you felt comfortable speaking about it freely?
It takes a while. Anytime we go through trauma, there's always shame attached to it, and you're not sure how people are going to perceive you, and you don't want to be just categorized and lumped in as like, oh, the girl who was in a cult. Right. So that's now what I am every time I walk into it. I don't want that. I'm so much more than that. But I think that happens to so many of us because of so many different things in our lives. People just like to put labels and categories on everyone. And so that was a big part of it, just feeling like, I don't know how to talk about this in a way that I feel like I'll really be understood. And I was kind of terrified of being misunderstood. So I just didn't talk about it. I didn't want to say anything. It was incredibly painful to heal from that. It took a long time. And only because I have gone through that process and done a lot of that work, I'm sure there's still more. There's always more. But now I feel like I'm ready to actually offer some help. Yeah. Whereas before it may have been more about me needing to have a catharsis, and now I'm good with that. Now I actually just want to help people.
Help others around you. I've spoken to former members of cults before, and one thing that tends to sort of pop out in each thing, a pattern, is the progression. The idea that, you look up one day and a week, a month later, it all happens so fast, and suddenly you're consumed by this thing, and you hadn't realized in real time because you were in the eye of the storm. I'm curious to know, what was your experience like in that way when it came to sort of looking up and realizing you'd maybe gotten in too deep to a thing you didn't want to be in anymore?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's mostly what my memoir will be about, is that journey. So there's so much to unpack there. I wouldn't be able to do it justice here just now for you, but generally what I can tell you is that is correct. It's very insightful. That is what happens. It's a slow burn. Mark Vincente in The Vows had a great quote. He said, nobody joins a cult. Nobody just decides to, hey, I'm going to screw up my life today. Yeah. No, you join something that you think is good. You become a part of something you think is good and useful and helpful, and it gets twisted along the way. And the important thing to learn would be, where are those mile markers along the way so you can recognize when things are getting twisted and then be able to set a boundary against those things. And that's really what I want to help people learn how to do, is recognize that.
Absolutely. And I know most of this will be covered in the memoir, obviously, so only so much as you're comfortable sharing, but from what I understand, your cast at the time knew about what was going on. You had friends and castmates who helped pull you out of that or support you leaving that. What do you most remember about that experience, the castmates and friends who helped kind of bring you back to yourself?
What I mostly remember is my friends who were there for me in spite of everything that I was going through. They saw me, they saw who I am, and they wouldn't give up on that. That's huge. So yeah, when I left, Paul Johansson opened up his house, and I stayed there with my daughter. And I met up with a whole bunch of old castmates and friends and people who were like, we love you, we've been here, we're ready, we don't really understand what you went through, but we're here to talk about it. And And that's all you can really ask for. Somebody who really sees you for who you are, and they know that you're not stupid. You're not like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just got caught up in something because you care.
Right.
And you probably just didn't have any boundaries.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's part of learning how to grow up too, learning those boundaries.
And you've become close with Sarah Edmondson after singing The Vow.
Yeah, I love Sarah.
The similarities perhaps between, with Nexium's Keith Raniere, of course.
Yeah, like what is it? These guys all have the same playbook.
So
like,
there's
what
like
is
a
the
theme,
deal?
right? It's almost like, absolutely. Those similarities from sort of a big picture way. What were some of the sort of common threads that you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. There was just, I remember watching that documentary with my jaw on the floor. And I had been told about it by another ex-member of my group, I don't know if I like saying that.
Yeah.
The group that I had been a part of.
Yeah.
She told me, she's like, you need to watch The Vow. It's like, I don't need to watch another cult documentary. She said, no, you need to watch it. And I couldn't believe. But it's all the same playbook. Malignant narcissism just, it behaves the same way, whether it's with a group or with an individual person. Yeah. Abusive relationships, there's very specific markers for that. So actually I really look forward to detailing some of that stuff in the book.
So much of our hurt, the good, the bad, informs our art. If we identify as an artist or a creator, do you feel that is the case for you? Do you feel like that's something that, your fans will experience through your music?
I really hope so. I process a lot through writing, through painting, through poetry, prose, and the songwriting is a big part of that, always has been. And so whether it's something fun and just exploring a moment of feeling jealous or comparative and boosting yourself up, and whether it's just fun like Strawberries, or whether it's something that is deep and meaningful and exploring a relationship hurt or abuse, those kinds of things all can be put into a context that people can relate to. They just, if you present it in a way where they want to open their hearts, I think that can be done.
Will your music also reflect the journey that you've been through, including the experience, right, that you had, and sort of extracting yourself from that group? Will that be covered at all in your music?
I have done some
church and state separate.
Yeah. No, I have done some of that. I mean, the songs I'm writing right now are not in that zone.
Okay.
I think also because as an artist and as someone with ADHD, like I have a lot of.
You're like, I could go 1,000 different ways.
I have so many things on so many different burners, and it's good for my brain to have a break. So I don't want to be writing a memoir about this and then working on a newspaper where I'm talking about like heady topics, and then also writing songs about it. Like the song stuff for me right now, I want to have fun.
It's release, it's joy. Okay, Strawberries releasing on the 18th. Tell me everything. What was the inspiration?
Well, a huge part of the inspiration was just moving to Nashville. I had really just gotten off a plane. I'd been there about a week, and was just sitting in my friend's bedroom in her house because my house wasn't ready yet, and started feeling this vibe. I saw her leaving her house in her cute little ankle boots, and I just, I wish my ankles were long and skinny. Yeah, I wish this, and I wish that too, and I wish that too, and just started playing with the idea of all the things that all the insecurities we have as women, the things that we wish for and look at other people and constantly comparing. And I just wanted to play in that realm a little bit, but also have it be something that ends up happy and fun and gives everybody a sense of empowerment.
Yeah, I love that. I also love that, everyone, all of my friends and like half of Hollywood has moved to Nashville.
Have they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know there's a lot of California.
And for good reason. Like, I love Nashville. I'm just curious, what made you fall in love with the city?
Oh, I had been there about 15 years ago and really, really loved it. But it just wasn't the right time. And I went back to visit some friends about a year and a half ago, and I don't know how else to say it except I just felt called to be there. It felt like I belong here, and it was a season of my life when I was ready to kind of do my own thing and work on some music. So I was ready to just jump in with both feet.
There it is. I love it.
Yeah,
the cover
you gotta go all the way.
You gotta just dive in.
Yeah,
both
no
feet.
half-assing.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The cover art for this, established 1981, Florida, Texas, New Jersey. Talk to me a little bit about what that represents.
Well, I was born in Florida. I lived in Texas till I was 12. I moved to New Jersey after that, and I feel like the formative years of my life, particularly in Texas and New Jersey, but I also feel this real deep connection with the ocean, and having grown up swimming in the waves every day with my parents. I just feel really connected to those three places, and I feel like they gave a really good juxtaposition for the different parts of my personality that are sweet and genteel and southern and sort of like a hippy dippy, and then man, I got that tough Jersey girl in me.
Best of both worlds. Thank you, everyone watching at home. You just performed at an iconic Nashville music venue, honestly, the Bluebird Cafe. I mean, that's incredible. Taylor Swift performed there early on in her career. What was that experience like for you? I mean, talk me through that first moment when you're on stage and you're like, this is happening.
So here's what's great about the Bluebird. There's a couple great things about the Bluebird. The first is that it's really a songwriter's venue. So you don't get invited just because you sing. You get invited because you're a songwriter and you're respected and people want to hear your songs. So just to get that invitation, it was just validation, like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing a good job. But the other great thing about the Bluebird is that it's so intimate that what they do is they'll set you have a guitar, I have a guitar, and then two people on these sides have a guitar, and we just sit in a round. And the entire audience is around us. So we're really just in the center, and it's so intimate. And yeah, my good friend Jen Bostic, who's a wonderful songwriter and singer, invited me to be a part of a round. And so it was her, Jeff Trott, who wrote a ton of Sheryl Crow hits. As soon as you go look his name up, you're going to go, oh my God, this guy. And my friend Noah Needleman, who's just crazy talented. So we had a great time, and it was a very exciting first foray into the Bluebird.
And sort of like debuting or revealing this song to the world. I mean, it hadn't been released yet, technically, at that point. So what was that initial reaction like from the crowd, being able to feel in real time how they respond to your music?
It's great, yes, because there were some fans there, like One Tree Hill fans that follow me. But there were a lot of people who had never heard of me, didn't know what my music was, and so to see the crowd really reacting from an authentic place, that felt great. They loved it. I hope. It looked like they did.
Loved it. I feel like you would have known if they didn't. Because you'd be like, ooh.
Yeah, they loved it, guys.
Yes, there it is.
Amazing.
Exactly. Clap for yourself. Absolutely. Now, obviously, we know you as an actor also, but this musical journey, the sharing of your songwriting talents and your musical ability is also incredible. Thanks. Talk to me a little bit about when you first discovered that passion for the music.
Oh, when I was a kid. It was the first thing I did. Yeah, I was just singing. I was singing in church. I was singing around the house. I was singing when I was doing dishes. So I just you couldn't stop me. And songwriting, I just always felt like I had things to get out in songs. So any way that I could, I would.
So holistically, you know, not just with the memoir or only with the music, but when people experience you and your heart and your creativity, what do you hope people learn or take away from your story and what you share with the world?
I hope that they don't feel alone. I hope people know that there's no shame in being abused. That happens. There are really terrible people out there, and there are people who do bad things, and that doesn't make you a bad person, and that doesn't make you at fault. And so I think taking the stigma away from that pain of being someone who sticks around to see the best in someone else, that's a good quality. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to shut down your heart. You're not alone. There are boundaries. There are very practical ways to prevent yourself from stepping into those things again. But I just want people to know that they're not alone. And I mean, as far as I go, I don't know. I just want people to have fun with what's all the creative buzz that's happening in my mind, and if I can, in my heart, and if I can share it and it makes somebody happy, great.
Yeah.
And
some of that creative buzz includes a newspaper for women.
Yes. I got you a copy.
Here we go. Thank you.
It's a little ragged.
This is
well
great.
Loved from my house. So
I love a well-loved piece. Thank you for this. What can you tell me about it?
So Modern Vintage News, we are launching in September. It's a women's newspaper, lifestyle newspaper. So we're not, and feel free to look through it too.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm just holding it steady so we can get a good B-roll shot first. And then I'm going to dig in.
It's awesome.
Of course.
We've got, the idea is to get off of your phone, to get off of the algorithm that you're constantly scrolling and being hypnotized by. I think we're all tired of watching and reading screens all day long. And so to just give you something tangible to hold on to, it's not precious like a magazine. I love that you can fold it open and take up space. You can use it to wrap flowers in or clean your windows when you're done with it. We've got cocktail recipes, historical profiles. We've got how to change the oil in your car, and cover pieces that have to do with deep issues like character and loneliness and suffering, and how are we processing those things. So it gives you some place to go to just be thoughtful.
Incredible. If people want to support, if they want the newspaper themselves, where can they go? Is that YTD, or can you tell us now?
It is modernvintagenews.com. You can sign up right now. We will start shipping in September. It's we're going to do every other month for, I guess, about a year. We'll see how it goes, and then hopefully I can get to a monthly place if my brain doesn't explode from all the things I'm doing. But I'm really excited about this, and I hope people love it. modernvintagenews.com.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you so much. But the music, just to circle back around.
Thanks, yeah.
For the music, if people want to support, like, when can we expect more music? Obviously, Strawberries is coming.
Strawberries is coming. Strawberries is coming out August 18th. And we'll have another single probably in about 3 months. I think the way the music industry is, it's changed so much from when I was a kid anyway, when you bought a CD and you did a whole record, and that was, now it's all singles and streaming,
like random
and so the format's
songs.
so different. So there will be an album, but I think you're supposed to just put singles out for a while.
And let them stream.
We'll see.